Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, you know me, K-Ray from K-Ray Sports Podcast. Today, I think my guests, y'all probably saying, well, they got nothing to do with sports, but they got a lot to do with sports. And we got, my guest today is one of the biggest names in Birmingham, Michael Pickett. Hey, Michael Pickett, that name sound familiar? Yes, the police chief of Birmingham, Alabama. Not Bessemer, not whatever. He's from Birmingham, Alabama. He's the police chief, and I got him right here today. So we're gonna go to a commercial. So you want to tag somebody or share somebody with somebody? We'll be back probably in a minute. So get your sharing on, get your tagging on, and let everybody know that the big fish is in the pond. Michael Pickett.
Day after day, time for work and it's time for play.
We're back, and today's guest is Michael Pickett, and he's the police chief of Birmingham. And I like to welcome you on the show. And you didn't hesitate to come on when I asked you. You never hesitate. Why you didn't hesitate?
Well, when I met you, we were at the Parker game,
Yeah.
so you seemed to have a good energy, and you wanted to facilitate communication about what's going on in the city as it relates to our youth, sports, things of that nature. Which, of course, you were at that Parker game. I wish Ramsey could have pulled that one out, but it is what it is. But yeah, so just wanted to be able to to connect with you, to be able to connect with our community.
I'm glad you came on. And I'm gonna get into that. I'm gonna get it out. When they first we were first announced chief, and a lot of them went on social media talking about, hey, every female like to have a warrant. They want to have a warrant, and they were funny. And I said, okay, let me see what the chief is. And I saw you. I said, okay, they own it, So, and many people don't know anything about you, and I don't do shows with negativity because I stay away from it. But they want to know who you are. So we're gonna start back. We're gonna go to your childhood. Like, I don't think they know you grew up in Birmingham. So let's talk about your childhood. How you grew up in Birmingham.
So I grew up on the west side of Birmingham. Grew up kind of in the Green Acres community, with some of the greats from our community. But ended up going to Central Park Elementary. So for the folks familiar with Fairfield, I was at St. Mary's for a minute, Catholic school. But majority of my time was spent in the Birmingham school system. Ended up attended Ramsey High School, graduated from Ramsey High School, and went on to finish college at Miles College. I attended both Miles and UAB, but I ended up getting my degree from Miles College.
One reason why I wanted to show you got a cool one, but I never knew what to know. So for any people out there, tell them what it's like being on the campus of HBCU.
Oh, it's love. I mean, you feel familiar with it. I mean, it's your people. I mean, one thing I can say is, for some people going off to college or just going to college in general, they may be apprehensive about it. They may be going outside of their comfort zone. They're the people from their neighborhood, from their block, from their street. So you're going out, off to a university. And a lot of young people at the age of 18, 17 sometimes, they're very apprehensive about it. But when you go to a HBCU, it's like a family. You pulled in, you're familiar with the culture, you're familiar with some of the people, you're familiar with the food, that they serve in the caf, so it's just a lot of familiarity. But the biggest thing is, you have professors and you have staff and, in the business office and things of that nature who understand where you're coming from, who understand challenges you may face, and also who see the value in you, who want the best for you. So HBCU is your people wrapping their arms around you to make sure you can excel in your academics, at the collegiate level.
Because even they found out you come on the show, I saw Miles posting you a lot. That's good. And I saw the pictures. You sitting in the office, pictures there. So the whole time you growing up, and then even you get to high school and college, you don't think about law enforcement. You don't think about.
Growing up in high school, I never really thought about law enforcement. I actually thought I had the dreams that most young boys have. I want to be a pro athlete, basketball player, huge fan of the Bulls in '96. When they won those 6 championships. I grew up during that era, watching back then the team was the Dallas Cowboys. They're struggling right now. At this point, I'm a fan of players, so I'm actually loving the Eagles right now. Not a huge NFL fan, but I'm a fan of players. So, but yeah, man, that's pretty much it. I mean, go ahead.
So you leave Miles, and what's on your agenda when you leave Miles? When you graduate from college, everybody want to be this and that, and nobody else goes to their major.
So I was in school and just had a college job. I was actually in school for business. I actually owned a business at Western Hills Mall back in the day. So I always had an entrepreneurial mind, entrepreneurial spirit, where I just wanted to, see what I can make of myself. You know what I mean? So I was at school at Miles, going to school for business, working just college jobs. And then I ended up running across a mentor who was a police officer. And that individual saw something in me and said, you know what, you're pretty squared away. I think you'd be a good police officer, a good candidate. I want you to go and take the test. And like I said, I wasn't really interested, but I said, hey, me and one of my partners, he went to Miles as well. One of my roommates, actually. We both went and took the police test down there at the, back then it was at the Civic Center, at the BJCC. Yes, okay, you used to take the test in person. There would be hundreds and hundreds of candidates to physically go down to the BJCC, and you would be in a room with about 400 or 500 other candidates taking a written exam to become a police officer. So we both took the test, and several weeks later, or maybe a couple months later, we got our results back. I ended up doing really well on the test and just started, taking the steps. The recruiters called me at the time. I took the steps, and then here we are. It's just kind of fast track.
Maybe you can ask you a crazy question, but I gotta ask it to you. What is it like when you just go out there on your first day as a police and you get in the car with somebody? Are you ready for action? Or you just gotta be cool? Or you just ready for some action? Your very first day.
So my very first day, I was 21 years old. I was assigned to West Precinct, which I wanted to go to West Precinct because I grew up in that area. But you're new to it. You get ready for work that first day, and your attire for work is a bulletproof vest. It's a gun with extra magazines. It's a bottle of mace. So you kind of take a moment and you're like, man, okay, what am I about to get into? I got a lot going on right now. So.
You didn't have second thoughts about it?
No, I never really had second thoughts about it. Never had second thoughts. The first moment that I had of do I really want to do this was the first time I went on a call where shots were fired feet away from me. you know. And at that point, you know, you get that moment and you say, you really want to be police? You sure you want to do this? And, you know, once I heard those shots, I had to get down like everybody else. And I said, hey, my partner's on the other side of this house. If he's hurt, if he's dying, I'm his first line of backup. I got to go. So at that point, when I knew I could get up off the ground after dodging the shots and go toward where the shots were coming from, that's when I knew I could handle the job.
So now many people thought you just popped up, and I was trying to tell them, oh, he doesn't pop up, he's been in the business. So hard work got you where you are now, right? Tell us about the trenches, you in the trenches to get to the point where you are now.
Yeah, so like you said, it's everybody has a different career path to get where they are. And everybody goes through different things, but it's just about your journey. So there's no one journey to the same place. But for me, you know, I started out, I did my first 5 years at West Precinct, working the streets on evening shift and overnight shift. Did that for about 5 years, and I did that also while I was finishing my college degree at Miles. So I was working a lot. I was, you know, working overnight, going to class, taking no doze, trying not to doze off during class in the morning. Then back, you know, either working out or working a little side job and then going back to work that evening or that night at 10:30. But I did that, and you know, after I did that for about 5 years, I got picked up for a task force where I did a citywide task force. So instead of just working the west side only, I got to go over to the east side and get familiar with the east side of town, because I never really knew much about the east side growing up. We west side folks stayed on the west side. We didn't really go to the east side unless we were going to Central Plaza. Central Plaza was about it, and my grandmother stayed over in East Lake, so I kind of got familiarized with East Lake. But that was pretty much it for the east side. You know, that was you know, the country club over there in Center Point, you know, all of that stuff. So, but I was able to familiarize myself with other sides of town while working on the citywide task force. Did that for about a year where we focused on burglaries and things of that nature. I mean, we would be able to just, you know, we had a 28-man team at that time, and we were able to go into whatever precinct was having a lot of burglaries and just attack whatever the problem areas were. So it was very effective.
But that's really basically what a task force is. Okay, y'all just deal with burglars, y'all deal with more.
It depends on whatever the issue is. Yeah. So it could be burglaries, it could be robberies, it could be, you know, property crime or crimes against persons. Whatever that issue is, that task force is they're focused on dealing with that particular matter or issue. So I did that for only about a year, and then I got picked up. I tried out for the crime reduction team, and that was really the highlight of my career. One of the, you know, highlights of my career when I worked with the CRT of the crime reduction team. So on that team, I was a deputized U.S. Marshal. So we did fugitive recovery. So anytime, anytime someone had like violent warrants, whether it's murder, capital murder, robbery, things of that nature, we had a 10-man team with a supervisor that was tasked to locate that person that was on the run, or locate that person that was on the run from another state, and get them in custody.
So then you go from there to where?
Yeah, so I went from there to, I did executive protection, and soon after that I got promoted to sergeant. I only did executive protection for a year as an officer, then I got promoted to sergeant, where I was able to supervise city hall, mayor's detail, things of that nature. So I got experience doing planning of, you know, events and things of that nature. I got training from the Secret Service, from the governor's detail, protection detail, things of that nature, and the U.S. Marshal Service on their protectee side. So that was pretty good to be able to be over the protection of really the employees, as well as the citizens that come in and out of City Hall. So it was a broad scale there. Ended up getting promoted to lieutenant, and I broadened my supervisory responsibilities there, where I oversaw all of the security for all city venues, all of security services for the city, as well as the citywide task force. So I was able to get a little bit more experience there. During that time, when I was a lieutenant, I was tasked with being the law enforcement branch director for the World Games. If you remember the World Games, so yeah, so So that was a huge event in our city. Of course, it was Alabama's first and only Tier 1 event. Of course, you know a Tier 1 event, for example, is the Super Bowl. So it's the pretty much the largest scale event that you can get outside of possibly the United Nations meeting, something like that in the United States, where we have all world leaders. So that was a huge undertaking where I had to plan all aspects of securing that event. And we had hundreds of different countries all coming here with their delegation, their consulates, things of that nature. So the threat level was extremely high, and I had that responsibility to coordinate with at least about 100 different agencies. It wasn't an easy job, and there was no template for it. You know, Alabama had never seen that before. No agency had ever seen that before. So there was no blueprint to say, hey, this is your go by. So I had to build that
I
out.
remember people was on pins and needles when they brought it here, and they were saying like, no, you get caught with something like that. No, so you use all this. So I didn't want you to paint a picture. You just didn't pop up being police chief because you had a background.
Right.
And I heard, you know, politics already. I heard some lady go to the black, well, you can't get caught up reading negativity. I think a lot of people read negativity. So I read a lot. I do a lot of reading. So when I go somewhere, I know some stuff.
Right.
So as a job as a police chief, when you first got a job, I know they named two before you. They named two before you. And I remember Smith came in. And
LA.
behind him, the other guy came in, then you. But the first, was you behind the scenes saying like, I can do this job, man. Some people say I can do this job. Was you waiting on your opportunity?
I was not.
No.
I was not. To be perfectly honest, I never had a desire to become chief one day. I never had that dream.
Yeah.
Like you said earlier in the conversation, I never thought that I would be a police officer. I had a mentor that saw something in me that said, hey, you need to give this a shot. And I took the chance on that and did relatively well in it. But as it relates to becoming chief, hats off to both of the chiefs and really all of the chiefs that I've worked for and the other chiefs that come before me, because now sitting actually in the position, I see just how much of a huge undertaking it is and how difficult and challenging it can be.
So when you show up, like if something happens, when you show up, what makes you show up at a scene? How critical you got to be before you show up on a scene?
So that's a great question. I show up at minimal. I mean, it can be the most minute things. I mean, it could just be I can see an officer interacting with somebody on the street, and I'll just roll up and just say, hey, appreciate what you're doing. I actually was right outside of the courthouse, Jefferson County courthouse today, and officers were about to tow a car that was literally parked in the crosswalk, preventing a wheelchair and pedestrians to be able to walk up on the sidewalk and then to be able to access the handicap curbing. And I stopped for a minute, let them know, hey, appreciate what you all are doing. So it could be something small like that, or it could be a homicide. It could be a shooting, whatever it is. And that's because I actually want to know what's going on. I want to let the officers know, hey, I'm out here with you. If it's something you need, you can tell me right there on the scene. But then on the homicide, I actually care. I want to know what's going on. I want to know who did it. And I want to know how long is it going to take us to get them in custody.
So you're not just sitting up in the building. Like people think you are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And people that work for the department, they know I'm out of the office more than I'm in it as it relates to physically, because you have to get out there. Policing is not an office job.
So we know, and I know you came to the West Side because that's a heavy crust of crime. So I talked to a guy at football. I didn't work with him. You know what I'm saying? So I talked to a guy at football. Sergeant Mason, you know him?
I do.
I tried to get him to come in here. That one doesn't happen. He told me, he said, why you want to come in? He said, man, for that man, why you ain't on your job? But he said he liked working for you. He said, you ain't the candidate make him jump now. He said, but you ain't soft because you gonna come in and you've been doing your job. Why he said that? Why he like working for you, but he can handle the real hard when you get out?
Because it's about balance. And one thing I never do is I'm never going to ask an officer or anyone that works for our department to do something that's not their job. Okay, the only thing we're going to ask you to do is something that we're paying you to do, and something that's the right thing to do. And I'm never going to ask somebody to do something that I wouldn't do. And a lot of times they literally see me out there doing it with them. Operation Night Rider, where we had the issue with the exhibition driving and the street takedowns, takeovers that was, all over the city. And that went over, that was just in Birmingham. It was all over the nation, during that time after COVID. Folks got bored at the house. They started putting money into their vehicles and then just started tearing up the streets. And I love cars. And recreationally, I think it's great. But when you do it on city streets, and we had people that lost their lives to it, that's when it crossed that threshold of this is not fun anymore. This is dangerous. You're hitting folks, you're damaging property, you're damaging the city streets. It's reckless, and we have people getting shot and killed and getting hit behind it. So now we got to address it. When that happened, we didn't have there was no template, there was no plan for it, because the world had never seen street takeovers and exhibition drivers, whether you're in California, Chicago, Memphis, Detroit, Atlanta. But, because we do look to see, okay, well, if there's something going on in another agency, how are they dealing with it? We don't have to reinvent the wheel if they got something that's working. But nobody had a plan for it. So I sat down with my team and we developed a plan. We looked at how they did things, how they organized, how they would take over the street. And we literally developed a plan and we executed it. And I was literally out there pretty much every night that we ran that operation to make sure that the officers had guidance that they needed, because this was something that was never done before. And I don't want to just, go tell the officers to go do this and then sit up and try to judge them for making the wrong decision if I didn't give them a good template to go by. We're going to go and work this together. We're going to be as safe as possible, and we're going to learn together, and we're going to get better together. And we did that. I mean, we pretty much destroyed it. And I know it's some still popping their heads up a little bit now, and we're going to be addressing that too.
And I just think back when you came and you got in office, and every time I looked around, y'all saw y'all going to get some people that was out there for a long time. Did it help you? Do it help you being a police chief in Birmingham City? Do that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Being from the city helps a lot. You got to understand the people. You got to understand how the city moves. You know what I mean? So I would be an ineffective chief, and I say this all the time. If you drop me in Thailand right now, if you drop me, even in Africa, if you drop me in Australia, I would be a less effective police officer, or definitely police chief, because I don't understand the culture, the people, and I don't understand the city. But in Birmingham, I know the city. I grew up here.
So now you had a reduction in crime. I know people run on politics, and I don't get into politics, especially dirty politics. Oh, the city doing this and the city doing that. But they don't know that you cut crime in half. Was it 50%?
It was 50%. And at our peak.
Hold on, let me ask you. And I want you to explain how you do it, what you added, or what you ain't got to tell me secret if you don't want to, but just for how you was able to just do that.
So when I got the call to take the job, the interim position, it was back in October, but I actually had to take over in November 29th. Okay, so the first thing I did out of the gate was we knew that last year, 2024, we were approaching the deadliest year. I mean, everybody, all the reporters were reporting on it, like Birmingham is on track to have the deadliest year ever. And unfortunately, we hit that mark. But when I got the role, I knew that it was something immediate you got to do to slow things down. So I immediately, because it was so out of hand, went ahead, developed a team, like we talked about, a task force earlier, to address the most violent offenders and target them. If we identify somebody as a shooter, I wanted to seek them out, find out where they hang out, find out who they hang with. If they got outstanding warrant, we're going to go get them in custody, not now, but right now. You know what I mean? So that was the immediate thing that I did. And then I went through my 8-step crime plan, and I tried to address each and everything. But two of the most significant things that helped was, one, you got to find out who your shooters are, who your offenders are, and you got to target them. You got to make them uncomfortable. You got to lock them up if they got any reason to be locked up. And then two, if somebody has the audacity to murder somebody in your city, they need to know police gonna be coming at them real quick. So we got those folks in custody. We try to get them in custody within hours. And a lot of times, if you look at what we've done over the course of this year, it's so many times that our teams, and hats off to CRT, hats off to patrol, hats off to set team, hats off to, even our detectives. A lot of times we have worked together as a department to identify who it was, and the citizens. I can't leave them out because they help us a ton. But working with the community and all the teams within BPD, we were able to identify who committed a crime or who killed someone and get that person in custody within hours. And if we couldn't get them within hours, we still get them pretty quick. And we still have a few that's out there.
You track them down.
Yeah.
So now I posted a picture of all that in the port back in 1974, and I put up on there like, when are we gonna get the neighbor back in the hood? And somebody inboxed me, well, you gotta come to you. So are we gonna ever be able to put the old lady back on the porch and stop calling our hood and calling neighbor again?
That's the goal. And it's, when you mention that right there, it kind of resonated because I went on a homicide, and I believe, I went on a homicide. It was in West End. I want to say kind of off Woodland Avenue earlier this year. And I was out there with the detectives. And they were canvassing as they normally do, knocking on doors, just talking to everyone. And they knocked on this one door, and I was there with them. And a young lady, she was an older lady, but she came to the door, and she spoke with the detective. And she noticed me kind of standing off the porch. And she said, Michael Pickett, is that you? I said, yes, ma'am. I didn't really recognize it, but she called for her daughter, and she said, come up here. Mike's up here. And her daughter was a young lady that I went to elementary school with. And hadn't seen her since elementary school. And I came on up on the porch and gave him a hug, and hadn't seen him in a minute and in years. And we sat and we talked. And one of the things that she said was, the house down there that y'all are at, we've been having problems with them for years. And she said, they shoot all the time. And she said, it's so bad that every year on New Year's Eve, I go stay in a hotel. And that's a problem. This lady has to, and she said on her street, she said it was mostly widows on their street. And she said, we own these houses. She said, we've been here our whole life, and we shouldn't have to do that. I said, no, you shouldn't have to go spend money on a hotel in a house that you paid for. Just to feel safe on a day where you're supposed to be celebrating the new year with your family. That's a problem. So moments like that, it really lets me know the work that we still have to do, to make our community safer and be able to have that old lady sitting on the porch.
We want the old lady back on the porch.
Yeah.
That's neighborhood watch.
That's right.
So now, if people talk, they talk all the time now about crime. You can't fully stop crime because you don't know Johnny got 10 guns in the house, do you?
No, you
somebody
don't.
Tell you.
Right,
You know
exactly.
what I'm saying? So I saw some preachers now, they huddle up and they going for this candidate, and then they saying, well, crime is up in Birmingham, we need a new leader. It's not true. That's not true because y'all cut crime 50%. But you don't know when Johnny or Rayborn or anybody got 10 guns, he got ounces of weed, everything. You don't know that.
Right.
But time you arrest their sons, you catch a little, you catch slack from them, don't you?
Yeah, we know it's understandable because it's family.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see their family go to jail. And we understand that, but it's that accountability piece. If your family doing illegal stuff, talk to them, get them on the right track, get them in church or whatever you want to get them to. And just, try to steer them away from that direction, because if they continue to do that, it's only a matter of time where something will end up happening to them, or they will end up in our custody.
You did a post the other day. It had something to do with, I think, over in Winona. And when you made the post, my line was hooking up and blowing up. And that's the kind of police chief we need. When you made the statement about
Parental accountability.
talk about that when you got 4 grown-ups enticing their kids to fight. That totally disappointed you that day because you went straight to social media with it.
I thought it was important. So it was a video, and I believe it's been taken down, but it was a video that particular day that went viral on social media. And several people sent it to me, and to watch that video, it was extremely disheartening. These were little girls, and I could, you could look at the video, and I could tell they really didn't even want to fight, and they were literally being encouraged by the parents to fight. They were facilitating it, and that was just hard to watch. And I felt that it was important that we did something, because we can't do everything, but in that moment, because that went viral, I wanted to make sure what also went viral was the accountability for that and how that won't be tolerated in Birmingham. If you're a parent, as much as we're willing to help any parent, because we understand that kids don't always do what their parents ask them to do. You and I didn't always do what our parents asked us to do. But my parents never facilitated me doing the wrong thing and encouraged me to do the wrong thing. So we know that's important.
You ever seen anything like that? That you've been on the force?
To that, not on social media, not like that.
Okay,
And I really can't say that I've ever seen in person a parent encourage a child to fight. And if they want to do that, it's platforms for that. Let's get them training in mixed martial arts or boxing and do it in a constructive way. And because when you do it the right way, there's nothing wrong with them. I mean, if we want to see a black Ronda Rousey one day, you know what I mean? But it needs to be done the right way.
So, I asked somebody that give me a quote about you today, and they said something about being locked in, Chief. What that mean? What they talking about?
So being locked in, and it goes to what you mentioned earlier. How do we get crime down 50% this year? One of the main things you got to do as a leader is you have to develop a plan. Okay, you got to develop a plan that works, and you need to be able to adjust that plan as needed. Okay, you need to be able to also get buy-in from your folks. Your folks, your people, your team, as I look at BPD as a team, they have to believe that they can accomplish the goal. That's the biggest thing. They have to believe that they can do it. So I came up with this mindset for BPD this year, coming off the worst year last year. I wanted everybody to get locked in. And that means pushing out all distractions, getting that out of the way, being laser focused on what our goal is and not getting distracted from it, and staying focused and locked in on that until we accomplish the goal. And that's what we've been doing thus far.
I talked to a guy the other night, said, Birmingham ain't the only one got crime. He said, Hoover got crime, Homer got crime. Why do you think TV stations never get really focused on outside of Birmingham? It's always Birmingham. They hit it with a fine tooth. I just got to put it out there to you. They always concentrate on Birmingham, but the crime going on there in Hoover, they going on there in Coleman. Why is Birmingham the target?
For the life of me, I don't quite understand that. I do understand what you're saying, and crime is everywhere. Crime is literally everywhere, but I can't really speak to why Birmingham gets targeted so much to highlight the crime. But I will say that we are doing good. Birmingham is a safe city. Yeah, we have our pockets of areas that we're addressing, but more than anything, and I grew up on the west side, and I'm be honest with you, I feel comfortable going on the west side. I go to whatever restaurant I want to go to. I go to the gym and shoot ball or whatever it is I want to do on the west side, and don't feel fearful. In a lot of our homicides, either they're a lot of times domestic in nature, or a majority of them, to be honest with you, we're gonna keep it real, a lot of times people are involved in things that are illegal, whether they're trying to buy an illegal gun. We've had so many, and I'm just gonna be real with you, we've had so many homicides that I've gone on where you got young men, they got black latex gloves on and a mask on, and they dead. So and they in the back alley, are they on the side of an abandoned house? What were you doing? Not judging anybody, but I'm saying this so hopefully it reaches somebody where they can talk to a family member that may be into something they shouldn't be into and prevent that person from being killed. But what are you into that you got a mask on the side of an abandoned house at 2 in the morning? You see what I'm saying? So that's why so much we encourage people to, get out of that lifestyle. Because a lot of times in that lifestyle, you end up dead in jail.
Can you remember? I think you remember about 10, 11 years ago. They brought in a guy. He was going to put a baseball field. He was going to be top of the art, $10.5 million up by George Ward. You remember that?
I remember the conversation about it.
It went, but I was talking to Sergeant Wade at the game the other night, and I said, I used to play PAT. When it gonna come back? I didn't know that you brought it back. Tell us about the PAT program.
So that was another top priority.
Yeah.
That was a part of the 8-point crime plan, was bringing back PAT.
Yeah.
I played PAT ball when I was
younger.
Tell
them what the PAT stands for.
So it stands for the Police Athletic Teams.
Yeah.
So that is a great platform for our youth, our young people, boys and girls, to be able to play sports in a safe environment and be introduced to police officers and interact with them while they're doing something they enjoy doing, while they're doing a sport that the police officers like to play, watch, or coach. So it's just that environment. It's a perfect environment to start for us to build that relationship with our youth through sports. So as you mentioned, PAT. So we brought PAT back. When I tell you it was soon, it was in this spring. Okay.
This spring just passed?
This spring just passed. Yeah. We started baseball. Okay. So it was out of the gate. As soon as I could get the ball rolling, and hats off to the officers and Coach Vic to help get that ball rolling, because he's historically one of the PAT leaders in our community. Yeah. And from there, he gave the young guys the guidance. And when I tell you, they have taken off with it. They've already done baseball. After baseball, they went into tennis. Tennis was great. Then now we're working on soccer. Soccer is set to start next week. PAT soccer. Never had PAT soccer
and I'm
before.
Gonna come cover y'all.
Yes.
If y'all got something coming, I'm coming to see. Now, do they have a PAT on the shirt?
They got PAT on the shirt.
That's good. Cause we grew up like the PAT was on the shirt.
Right.
We took pride in it. So you think it's gonna get bigger and bigger?
I think it's gonna get bigger and bigger, and I love that we're diversifying all of the sports. So PAT historically wasn't year-round, but we're gonna have a year-round program. We'll have basketball in December. So we're trying to do year-round sports.
And I know I got you off guard, but what do they got to do to check in with you, or where they sign up at, anything like that?
So I don't have the actual website for it, but if they just call the police department, and we'll get you in contact, or come down to City Hall, because it's based out of City Hall. Those officers that are right there, they will point you in the direction to go ahead and get your kids signed up.
You gotta get ready, because you know what? Soccer have taken over. I cover soccer, Birmingham City Schools, and Carver, and these teams go out there and play Leeds and beat Leeds and Mountain Brook and everybody. Yep. So you're proud to bring PAT back. Did you come up playing PAT?
I did. I played at Willie Mays Park over in Fairfield.
They about to fix it up now. They're doing something to it.
I'm hoping so. Yeah. We got to help Fairfield out. That's a beautiful city historically. I mean, it was really booming, especially for the Black community back in the day. That was like where people wanted to move to. Was Fairfield. The steel plant was there, and it was just an amazing, thriving city. So, and of course, that's what Miles College is. Yeah. So we really want to see Fairfield do well, but that's where I originally played, is at Fairfield in that Central Park.
Yeah. So you think about 2 of you, it's gonna be, so you got soccer coming next.
You got soccer coming next.
That's a big game.
Yep.
So you're not gonna. I don't think we had PAT in football when we were coming up. It was like baseball.
No, we didn't have. We didn't have PAT.
Will you go to softball?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
And what the game been playing at?
So we have different sites. So we're coordinating. It'll be most likely it'll be at one of the schools or one of the rec centers. Yeah. And we'll be partnering at times with Park and Rec to see where we can get. But it'll end up being they might be able to use the soccer field that they have out at Legion Field or one of the parks in the area. So we try to partner with the local Park and Rec facilities to be able to play those games for soccer.
Do that bring kids closer, and they can trust the police? Because some people don't trust the policeman, but do that bring you, get you hands-on with the kids?
It definitely does, and I got to go out to some of the. I went out to tennis. I've gone out to baseball, and to have that interaction with them. Yeah. At that age, you start building that positive relationship. That you got to start building it before they turn 13 and 14, because once a child turns 13, 14, 15, they've decided which direction they want to go.
Yeah.
So if you can catch them at that age when they're a little bit younger, you can start to plant those seeds and build them up and show them, hey, if you don't want to be, a musician or a football player or a doctor, hey, a police officer is a good career.
Yeah. So now, and I know this right here, like police. Tell us about the police academy, because I think I saw where you had one of your biggest classes. Was it ever?
The largest class in history. Yeah.
So I be reading my work. I be doing work, man.
You did your homework.
Yeah. So how many was in that class?
So we started with 93, and we're
Yeah.
currently at 90.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because like I said, the politician was talking about you lost 800 off. I know that true, man. You know. So how you feel about 90 people want to join Birmingham?
It is an amazing feeling to be able to see that. I remember speaking at the graduation that we just recently had.
I don't mean to cut you off, but
Mhm.
now I saw some pictures. I didn't want to post. I don't know. You think he online or something? Now he got a line going on. I saw you up in a couple on face. What that's all about?
So when we have our police academy, we want to make sure that you understand that we mean business in police academy. It's a serious training, because what you do during this training is going to dictate what you'll be able to do when you get on the street.
Yeah.
So if you got any type of issues with being able to take verbal abuse, and we don't verbally abuse them, but we got to test their limits. We got to see how you going to react when somebody say something that you don't like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We want to get that out of them. We want them to know your limits, know what you're going to have to face sometimes when you're on the streets, and you always got to maintain your composure. So we want them focused and locked in, and we want them to know, hey,
I'm locked in now, man. I'm trying to see 90 people. You had 93. You had 90.
90 people. We got 90. We didn't have 90. We got 90 right now.
So you still gonna when another class come on?
November. Yeah.
Wow. So you headed in the right direction.
Absolutely.
You gonna have enough officers to cover the streets.
My goal, okay, because it's really I kind of want y'all to join me in this, but it's gonna be the road to 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, my goal is within 1 year to get Birmingham PD 100% staffed.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's just whenever I face a challenge, I want to go all out to accomplish the goal. That's why I want us to have the lowest amount of homicides possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or in a long time. That's the goal for this year. I want us to have our homicide clearance rate, meaning solving those crimes, the highest it has ever been. And we already touched that.
Yeah.
This year, we got our clearance rate to 85%. Now we're at 80 right now, but we keep striving for better. And then my goal for staffing wise is to be able to fully staff this department. And we are going to bring on more officers in 1 year than Birmingham PD has ever brought on.
That's your goal, or you headed in that direction?
We have already, we're going to meet that. We've already onboarded 200 officers. Okay. We're going to surpass 250 officers in 1 year. That's never been done before in the history of BPD.
Wow. See now, I would know that, but see, I be reading now, and like I got you right in front of me. And the question that I asked you was some people asking me this question, question. Now I'm gonna call some names and we get ready to end. And I want you to give me some quotes about these names. Okay. Bobby Knight.
Yes.
The president of Miles College.
Amazing lady. And I remember when I got the call, and I was, of course I met her prior to becoming chief, but she reached out to me and she was just so proud of me.
Yeah. We all were.
Being a Malian, being a young Black man in our community, from our community, to accomplish that goal, she was so extremely proud, almost like a mother. So huge shout out to Dr. Bobby Knight, President Bobby Knight at Miles. When I heard that she was going to be president over there, and I know already the things that she's done in our community through Alabama Power, I was thrilled for her to be the president at my college, my old college. You know what I mean? So but she's done so much for Miles College, and I know through her relationships and through her experience, she's been able to do things and build a program. And they just played in Canton, Ohio. I didn't like the score, but it's okay. It was still a historic game.
They was on a plane.
Right.
Flew out there.
But
Like, they flying out,
yeah,
right?
but and Willie Snipes up there with PMM with the band.
He the man.
It's a good crew that they have up there. Oh, he from Birmingham. Woodline.
Where you from? Okay. Now I don't know what the name I'm finna call. I don't know what to call him. Attorney Fitzgerald. Is it Turner Fitzgerald?
It's Officer Fitzgerald, and now it's also Attorney Fitzgerald.
What about him?
Oh, he's a great guy, a huge asset to our team. I mean, we have a really good public information office. You know, it's one thing for us to do our job, and then the community to help us out. But our public information office is so important. And shout out to Sergeant Wade too, because she is amazing. Okay, all right, but they have the huge task to facilitate and communicate what we're doing. You know, they are that liaison. They are that piece between us and the media, us and the public. They present BPD to the public, and they also bring us so much information from the public so that we can do more with our investigation. So, Officer Fitzgerald, amazing young man. I've watched him develop from a young officer to where he is now. And he's, you know, pursuing the attorney thing, which, hey, I applaud him on that. I love our officers to continue their education, to continue building themselves, because you're not just a police officer, you're a person first. He's Truman Fitzgerald first. So I love when a person invests in themselves, and then they can also use that to become better officers, and you know, just build more relationships and be able to just serve our community better.
Hey, Sergeant Wade, now before you give us a post on now. She's very professional. I'm not tooting the horn because she's in the audience. But each morning she told me, "Do that. Don't do this. Don't do that." I'm kind of like, wow.
Guess what? She tell me the same thing.
So you talk about her, and I told her when I talked to her at the game about 2 weeks ago. I said, "She's, you know me." I said, "Unfortunately, I see you. I know some bad news going on." But she's more than that. Give us some quotes about Sergeant Wade.
Yeah, so Sergeant Wade is the most integral part. She leads. She is the leader of our PIO unit. So she manages the voice and the image and things of that nature of BPD. I mean, me as the chief, yes, you know, I'm the face of the department and the leader of the department, but I cannot do it without a dynamic team. And she's one of the most important assets on my team. And she does have to give me guidance a lot, you know, because I'm new to the space. She has more experience than I do in the public realm. And I'm gonna be honest with you, y'all never seen, people don't know where I came from, because that was the point. I had no desire to be public facing. I had no desire to even become chief, but I do have a desire to make our community safer. So I took on the role when I was asked. But having somebody like Sergeant Wade on my team, when I'm going into unfamiliar, very unfamiliar, unpredictable, uncomfortable space, it's a huge asset. Yes.
Hey, she made. Hey,
everybody got to have their ace on their team.
She be up early in the morning. She text me early in the morning. I said, Sergeant Wade, but then she
about business. Ain't no doubt.
She about business. She organized the structure. Then she told me about hey, he got a PAT. She didn't want to talk about the PAT. Now I'm talking to her about the kid. Now I want you looking at the camera right here now as we close. If they want, tell the kids out there what they got to do to be like you. You worked hard to get where you are. Tell them how to work hard to do anything they want to do.
So to the kids out there, stay focused. First, you got to finish school. You know, listen to what your parents are saying, and I'm talking about the good parents. But listen to what your parents are saying. Listen to your mentors. You know, listen to your teachers. Hats off to all the teachers out there, because what they deal with just in their jobs, and it's a huge demand. It's a huge demand on them. But to the kids, just stay focused. Stay focused on the plan. You all should be locked in on your academics and building yourselves up. So that's really all I got for them.
And man, I appreciate you. Like I said, I told my frat brother and my friend, you never hesitate. You never, when I asked you, you said, okay, let's do it.
Yep.
Then part I like when you told me, I said, we ain't got to talk about crime. You said, no, I'm not shying away. I want to talk about crime.
Right.
And I appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely.
Hey, and it won't be the last time I'll be in touch with you about the PAT, because I'm going to come cover y'all, give y'all some exposure.
We would appreciate that.
Okay, thanks, man.
Yes,
Thanks for
sir.
showing up.